The Boom comics have shown us that the Power Rangers universe has a lot of potential when it's not restricted by footage or budget. With 26 years of established series, they've done all kinds of crossovers and new ideas. Boom is currently running 2 MMPR comics, one that is very early in the MMPR timeline while one is set in the middle of season 1. They've introduced parallel universes, evil characters, and new teams. All this stuff can be great for other seasons, like seasons that had cooler stuff, such as TerraVenture that never got explored. Continue where a season ended. Boom could also bring back seasons that people didn't like and try to help in areas that went wrong. Don't worry, I'm not going to have this list just filled with seasons I want fixed. It's going to be filled with everything. Seasons that would benefit the comic format the most. Thank you, Billy McCrary, who suggested this. If you have an idea or topic you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below. I might use it in a future video.
Mystic Force.
At the conclusion of Mystic Force, Nick and his family rode off on motorcycles to catch up on lost time. A comic would be great continuing this branching story. They can make mini arcs for each, like say 6 issues. Nick, Udana, and Liambo. See that family dynamic, love, arguments, bonding, all while starting up a new baddie. Another thing they could do is have the remaining Rangers be led by Daggeron, with Claire, Lily, Necroli, and Vitasis acting as supporting characters. Maybe the bridge between the magical realm and regular humans have caused certain magic folk to break off and denounce this. Who knows, maybe Vitasis fell in love with a human, which got people to cross that line where the two stories can eventually come together. With a comic, they can also create new Rangers. They've already been doing that with the Solar Team, Draken, Ranger Slayer. Claire could become a 9th Purple Mystic Force Ranger. I mean, she was already Zelda.
S.P.D.
This season has a lot of potential from the Future Tech and the expansive S.P.D organization. The Rangers could be all reassigned to different teams, act as leaders, so they can introduce new characters, find out what's going on with Jack and his girlfriend, link up Bridge to the Overdrive anniversary, explore how the Time Force team evolved into SPD. Cat could become a full Ranger. Some of the past villains could escape from a jailbreak. One story idea I had, Jack quit, he had his reasons, I love that developed at the end, but to get him to come back, Power Rangers does have one unused suit from Deca Ranger. Maybe his girlfriend wanted to join SPD. This could be the reason why he comes back and she eventually becomes SPD Gold. With no budget limit, the alien stories could be expanded on. Sophie could come back. Maybe she's the one who motivated Bridge to become the Red Ranger in the future. Have stories focus on Commander Birdie. Find out what Doggy and Icini are doing. These are some of the ideas they could do in an SPD comic.
Lost Galaxy.
Lost Galaxy would really benefit being continued like MMPR's comic, where they fill in the space between various episodes. Lost Galaxy was such a departure from regular PR with its space theme, but even with the boosted budget, they couldn't really do that many stories about space and even explore the station. The comic could incorporate TerraVenture as a character, which could expand Damon's role. Maybe we can find out how the Quasar Sabers were created. I always had this theory that the Lights of Orion were from magical beings that created the Sabers from a planet in the Orion stars. These powers were to help find people who could protect the Sabers as they laid in the stone. There could be an arc all about the original Magna Defender, see his life leading up to him taking Mike's body. Backstory like this would be great with a darker take. Deviot could really show how far he would go with reaching his goals. They could confirm he was fully in control of Trakina's body in the final episodes. The comic could be a post-story, seeing how Miranoi was built up to a modern Earth planet, explaining that continuity goof in the Lightspeed team-up. The villains are very rich in Lost Galaxy. Captain Mutiny can come back. They could use leftover elements from Gingaman, bring back that random horse Leo used out of nowhere. You could even explore the command structure of the colony, focus on Commander Stanton and the Council. Why do they choose these decisions and not those? Maybe some of the Council doesn't like the Lost Galaxy team. There's a lot of conflict that could be created. Maybe do some stories that show the LG team being hesitant at Karone becoming a new Pink Ranger, or answer how Kendricks and Karone share powers. I can keep going on and on.
R.P.M.
Yeah, I had to put this one. With a destroyed world and the cliffhanger ending, the comic for R.P.M. could easily be a season 2. Vengeance could steal the Red Ranger powers. Basically, when Scott used them in the Samurai team-up, he was able to access the suit and activate it. He could rise up again using Dr. K's Ranger tech and create a whole new army of bots that could counteract each of the Ranger suits. This could force K to create a new Red Ranger for the R.P.M. team that acts like antivirus, maybe even add power-up mode to everyone else to combat this new enemy force while the world is trying to recover. The comic could travel around the planet seeing how cities have fared. Were they corrupted by Vengeance's tech, or are they just wastelands? Find Alphabet Suit's headquarters, which could be Vengeance's new base. Explore the psychological side of K, Gem, and Gemma. The comics are geared more to older fans. You can explore these themes in more detail. This could all lead up to Dr. K inventing portal tech, where they then find out there are other Power Ranger teams in other universes that didn't get killed off. Complete the connection to Ninja Steel's anniversary and other comics.
Lightspeed Rescue.
Lightspeed kind of left us on a minor cliffhanger. The Aqua base was destroyed thanks to the Life Force Megazord, but we know the Lightspeed team is still active. This would be a good starting point for a post-story where we see them constructing a new base and continuing the pursuit in finding all the remaining demons. Viper is still alive. She could become the main baddie in the comic. Does Joel and Miss Fairweather still work for Lightspeed, or have they moved on? Boom can go into more stories with Ryan. I always wanted to know who funded Lightspeed. Could this mystery organization have funded Beast Morphers? That would be interesting. There's some logic to it. Lightspeed didn't have a secret identity rule as they were a public service. This blew up in their face, so when coming up with Beast Morphers, they made sure to keep them a secret to the majority. Maybe even see the Rangers start branching off to a similar direction to S.P.D with additional teams, schools, and teaching.
Super Megaforce.
Now, this comic would be a pure relaunch of the seasons, not a reboot or retelling episodes, re-establishing the characters over again. The writers have handled the MMPR cast in high school pretty good. These guys need the same treatment, as well as use the Ranger powers to their full potential. It could be a post-finale story or in the middle of the seasons. I would love to see a run where it focuses on the Megaforce side, then jump to the Super Megaforce part, expanding on the Varrock and Prince Picard backstory so that they can establish that family link, work with the Megaforce villains longer so they are not thrown out after 5 episodes, fill in that space between. Then when they go into Super Megaforce, answer some questions, create stories around issues. I always wondered when the SMF team used a Ranger's power, would this block the season from using theirs? This could cause conflict between the various teams. Maybe show Noah coordinating when they can and can't use teams. That would explain why they pick X team in said episode. One big thing is the Sentai only suits. I hate them, I wish they were not used, but since they were, they need to be explained. Where they came from, what was going on. You got all these worlds now, you can go set them up. Robo Knight needs a lot of fixing. Troy's dream really needs to be expanded on. One more thing, use Ernie, Gosei, Tensu, and Mr. Burley much better. Give them purpose.
Alien Rangers.
This is an open book. You can bring back current day Billy. Maybe he's made his own Ranger suit. I don't see him sitting on Aquitar doing nothing. We could see how Aquitar looks, how their society works. The biggest thing is, get to know the Alien Rangers. Let's be honest, we only knew 2 of them, Delphine and Sestro. I have to keep looking up the others' names. I got Corcus mixed up with Sestro in my script. We only got like 14 episodes with them, and that's including Forever Red. Very little continuity to worry about. Boom could even use the Alien Rangers as a starting off point, explaining the Sentai only suits. Who contacted Aquitar to call Urko for Forever Red? Like, do they have their own Zordon? Are they independent? Another aspect would be their Zords. They borrowed the MMPR Zords. We have to assume they have their own. How do they fight underwater? What villains attack their planet? Endless ideas.
Time Force.
Besides the obvious things like getting focus for Katie, Lucas, and Trip, plus seeing how Wes and Jen keep in touch between the 2 time periods. What's Eric been up to? Has he gotten another bird? Does he still know the little girl? She'd be grown up by now. What's Rancic doing after he got turned fully human? Is he still in jail? Time Force could be the comic's central hub. They're already used as ways to move characters from different times and alternate dimensions. With their own comic, they could bridge each series. You establish one of the new characters, big action moment in the main comic. Time Force could be used as a way to get background info on them. Introduce new tech as needed. I want to know more about the Millennium since we never got to see it in the show. We could also get to know Alex. Why did he hide himself? And I didn't forget, the comic can do things with the Hyperforce team. I think these seasons would work best in a comic book format. Comics allow bigger stories, there's no limit on environments and characters. The comic is more made for teens, so things that were hinted in the show can be discussed, like S.P.D. If it was an offshoot of Time Force, that's a change in history. You kind of have an argument of some people in the future that want to correct that. For me, it's all about giving time to these small characters. I like to see more Iggy, more of the Tribunal of Magic. Maybe they got into disarray. Villains that have turned good. Toxica and Jindrax, what are they up to? Look at what was done so far. New Ranger designs, that crazy crossover with Street Fighter. How about a Super Sentai Universe crossover with PR? They could bring back Beetleborgs, VR Troopers, and Mask Rider. I'd like to see how Alpha and the Mask Rider get along. Maybe have a comic series that's Power Rangers Team Up, where they have arcs with 2 teams. Marvel did that with Spider-Man, even have a comic that ran in conjunction with the current season. You wouldn't be forced to read the comic or the show references it, but the issues could expand on things that aren't covered. Take Beast Morphers, have a story with Devin's father. We can't focus on him only in the show, but a comic that has both of them could work. What do you guys think? Are these ideas good? Would you prefer other seasons? I'd like to read your opinions. New episodes Mondays, fan commentaries Tuesdays. Next week, fixing the Dino Supercharge finale. Sorry about not including stills in the video. Due to past fair use abuses from the various companies involved, I no longer feature them. Thank you for understanding. See you in the next video.